What is up? Welcome to Talking Touchdowns, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks and Titletown, and we are going to review everything we saw in NFL Week 5 and then talk about tonight's game, the Chiefs versus the Raiders. Title, what were your main takeaways from yesterday?
DFS wise, a lot of chalk hit, and when that's the case, that's usually a good weekend for me since I play a lot of cash games. So it was a very good week 5. A lot of injuries. I mean, the Rashad Penny out for the year, Derrick Henry turf toe, Baker Mayfield not going to be starting. He's going to be out for a little bit. Matt Rule just got fired. So a lot of changes, it looks like, so far. Week 5, interesting news dump so far this Monday morning. Some good games. The afternoon games were pretty solid for the most part. Night game, we finally had a close game. Packers, very unfortunate start to London. But, yeah, excited to dive in, talk about each single game. Injuries, though, the main thing, I guess the takeaway is a lot of changes coming next week.
All right, Tyler, let's dive right in. Title talked about the morning game, and the Packers were not able to get it done. The Giants improve to 4-1. Aaron Rodgers obviously still struggling with the new cast of characters. What were your takeaways from the second London game, Tyler?
Yeah, man, they still have the same problem on defense they've had for the last, 3 or 4 years. They just cannot stop the run. And Rodgers on the other side didn't really have a safety blanket to go to. And I'm starting to think, Spread, we're going to have to upgrade these Giants in the power rankings pretty far because they might not have the roster when you look at it on paper. But that coaching staff's top 3, and they're doing everything they can. They're getting everything out of the players they have, and they're still winning games. I think I seen a stat where it's like teams that have started off 4-1, 75% chance they make the playoffs. So pretty sure they just punched their ticket to a wild card spot. So very surprised there. But other than that, I mean, Green Bay got to work on their defense. They'll probably still win that division. But in the playoffs, when a run-heavy team matches up against them, they probably still deal with the loss rate there again, like the last few years.
What did you think, man? Is your team a rough loss there, especially in a game they were ahead 17-3? What are your takeaways, and what are Packers fans saying?
Yeah, you can't lose that football game. It's what are Packer fans saying? I try and stay out of all the public that knows nothing about football and just looks at your own team in a biased lens. I try and stay out of that group. So the guys I hang around with mainly, they love DFS. They love that. So, hey, it's on to Free Money Sunday. Let's make some money. Is what they look at. As far as the Pack, I mean, you can't lose that game. Danny Dimes on a banged up ankle, hot start. They have control of that game, and you somehow lose it. It's the Giants, 4-1. Like Tyler said, they probably are going to make the playoffs. They've had a very good year so far, but you still can't win that, or you still can't lose that game as a Packers fan or as a Packers team who's supposed to take that division. You still have Aaron Rodgers. Defense is good, but you can't stop the run, like Tyler said. It's not like the passing numbers, their passing defense, like they've allowed the second least yards through the air or something ridiculous, but can't stop the run. It's a problem. And the thing is that it's always going to come back to Rodgers doesn't have that one guy that he's very comfortable in, like he did with Devontae Adams. And he's been used to that for so long. I mean, all these passes are 3 yards on the field, 4 yards on the field with 2 blockers in front, make a man miss and all that stuff. And man, it's hard to win in the NFL. I mean, Super Bowl aspiration, what the Packers have with Rodgers, all that. It's really hard to see that right now with this receiving core, their run defense. It's sad. It's sad. You can't lose the Giants, but division isn't very good. The NFC North, so I still got faith there. Anytime you have Aaron Rodgers with a pretty good defense, hopefully they can stop the run. I still have hopes for them, but man, 3-2, losing the Giants. They very well could be 2-3 even. So I think we're lucky to be 3-2.
My main takeaway is Wink Martindale's doing a great job with that Giants defense, and of course Brian Dable turning that team around. Tyler, we were on these previews. We got to take an L on these New York teams, right? We both thought they were going to be pretty poor, and they're off to great starts. Now,
I'll take my L on this one. The other one, I think they might be falling into some certain spots where they win games, like with the night, like yesterday.
I'm just saying, if you would have told me, if you would have said, hey, you get the Jets and the Giants, and I get the Broncos and the Raiders after 5 weeks, I would have given you like 10-1. The Broncos and the Raiders would have better records.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I'll take my L on the Giants. The Jets, I mean, they beat up a Steelers team that sucks. And they beat a third-string quarterback yesterday in Miami. And they won the Browns game with 2 minutes to go in a miracle win. So I'm not taking my L there yet.
All right. Bill Parcells says you are what your record says you are. The Falcons are 2-3 after. I mean, we like hyperbole, right? But let's just go with it. Worst call ever. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. These need to be reviewable or something. Completely changed the game. And my heart goes out to Atlanta football fans or Atlanta money line backers. Of course, if you played them against the spread, you cash as Atlanta falls 21-15. Of course, Title, let's just go ahead and lament the call. I mean, there's not much debate, right? No one's going to come on this show and say, that was a great call. So let's go ahead and give Jerome Boger his due criticism. And then what were your other takeaways from the games?
Yeah, I mean, it was an awful call. I don't really know what needs to be more needs to be said about that. So unfortunately, it's part of the game. I mean, the refs have a couple seconds, split seconds, whatever, to make the call. Make the wrong call, they can't review stuff, all of that. I mean, that's unfortunate. Can't be. You got to get that call right. Someone has to tell them you made the wrong call, whatever it is. But yeah, nothing you can do there. As far as the Buccaneers, as far as the game in general, I mean, man, Buccaneers only put up 21 points. Brady dropped back 52 times. Fournette and Rachaad White, big thing there is, I mean, Fournette had a very good game for DFS. He was very efficient with his touchdowns. He fell in the box a lot, but Rachaad White's still getting a lot of the work. I mean, I think it was like 60-40 or something like that with Fournette and White. I don't know the exact stats, but I saw their snap share. And, I mean, they talked about it first 3 weeks of the season. It was Fournette, like 95% of the snaps he was getting. He was the only running back to ever, or he's the only running back this year that was getting that type of workload. And Fournette said it wasn't sustainable. The coaches know it's not sustainable if they're trying to get in the playoffs. They said they're going to use more White, and they definitely have, which is something to note for DFS. I don't have too many takeaways, though. I mean, the Falcons without that call, Falcons have the ball, a chance to win that game, and that's not a good sign for the Bucs. I mean, they had Evans, Godwin, they're missing Julio. I don't know. I'm not very scared of this Bucs team right now, but they still can get healthy. There's still a lot of time. Defense is still there, but man, that wasn't a very impressive performance, I didn't think.
Yeah, Falcons got jobs, but they're kind of what we think they are. What do we take away from the Buccaneers here, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, if you checked out the playbook we do on the website, you hit this game right over the head because we said we were worried Tampa Bay would give up that lead late and not cover the spread, so we bet them first half. They went out and won the first half for us, and they turned around and got backdoored at the end of the game. So you hit that both ways. But as for Tampa Bay, just like Title said, they're not healthy right now. They're the one team I think could, once they get healthy, be a powerhouse in the NFC. And you look at the teams that were preseason slated to be the top teams in the NFC, them, the Rams, the Packers. They're the only one left out of those three that I think can make a run. The other two, I don't think they have a chance. So I still say they're a top three team in the NFC, but I think it's by default because the NFC is just not good this year.
All right, let's jump into the next game. I have too many windows open right now. My bad. All right. Took that away. The Chicago Bears fell to the Vikings. Tyler, we didn't really want to talk about this too much, but was there any takeaway other than I thought Justin Fields played a little better? The Vikings get it done. They're now 4-1. They're in first place in that division. I mean, but both the Vikings and the Giants sitting at 4-1. Not my favorite teams as far as playoff hopes, but you have to give them credit for getting it done. Fields looked a little better, 12 of 13 for 150-something yards in the second half there, Tyler. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Chicago's still Chicago. The Vikings came out to a quick lead. I think they were up 21-3 really quick, and they almost blew that game. Still don't trust Kirk Cousins to win big games, so the 4-1 record, it looks nice, but come playoff time, I'm fading this team spread.
All right. Title, what were your thoughts on the Vikings?
Yeah, I don't got much more to add. Dalvin, Justin Jefferson, the whole team from Minnesota, not going to be able to win playoff games with two people. As far as the Bears, they're the Bears. I mean, this game, Vikings won as they should have won, but it was closer than it really could have been as of late. So, I mean, not too much to take away from this one. I don't want to play the Bears in DFS and Justin Jefferson, Dalvin, and that's about it for the Vikings side going forward.
Quick fun question for you guys. Who's the worst team, Chicago or Pittsburgh?
Chicago.
I mean, it's close. I think it's a lot closer than you wanted to make that statement because Pittsburgh stinks spread.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, well,
yeah, probably the Bears.
I mean, yeah, they're still worse. But all right, we'll just be over it real quickly, Tyler. Other than you basically just jabbing me for loving Mike Tomlin. Although to be fair, I said don't take the 14 here. right? I knew this was a tough spot for them, but boy, you're not going to win with that offensive line. It's just absolutely terrible. And then, of course, Matt Canada is a terrible play caller. So give Tomlin some grief there for having him run that team. But, boy, it's really tough to win with a bad offensive line in the NFL. What are your other takeaways? I mean, pretty quick there on the Steelers-Bills.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills came out. Gabe Davis is healthy now, so the pass offense exploded finally. Once that defense gets healthy, I mean, they're going to be the powerhouse we all thought they were. It's just, can they win those big games down the stretch against the Chiefs? And as for the Steelers spread, I'd shut down TJ Watt for the rest of the year. Just continue losing games. Right now, if the draft was happening, they'd be picking 2. They'd get their other edge rusher in Will Anderson. Just don't go win 5 games late in the season and you're picking like 9th or 10th instead of 2nd or 3rd. Because even if you don't want Will Anderson and you're not going to draft a quarterback, you just ransom off the pick to a team that does want a quarterback and you load up on assets.
Tyler's ready for the tank. What do you think, Title?
Yeah, I mean, how do you argue that? I think Tyler's definitely right. I mean, when this team is in trouble, I mean, Kenny Pickett, he's getting thrown into the fire. Like, no one to block for him, no running game whatsoever. Najee Harris is going to look like one of the worst first-round picks in fantasy-wise, which, I mean, you kind of could see coming, you kind of couldn't, but there's no space to run. He do have Deontay, Freiermuth got hurt, Pickens. Like, there is talent there, but when you don't have time, you're screwed. As far as Buffalo, I mean, we know how good Buffalo is, but what stood out, Gabe Davis, when have you seen a 3-catch, 171-yard, and 2 touchdown stat line? Catches,
didn't Randy Moss do that once?
I mean, probably, but you don't see that every day. 3 catches, $171. Man, that's it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, rough day for the Steelers and rough day for my Tomlin takes. Let's move on here. Patriots and Lions, whatever. Lions suck. Patriots did a good job. Texans and Jaguars, I was disappointed. We thought Jacksonville would get it done when we talked about this game on Friday. Tyler, we nailed a bunch of the games, but this is the one we'll have to take an L on. We said don't lay the points, but that they were a good teaser. They were not a good teaser. And Trevor Lawrence, that was the disappointing performance. We had spoken during week 2 and week 3 on this show saying, hey, Peterson's turning him around. And I know, it's 2 bad games in a row. One was in the weather, but we have to be a little worried about that statement. Just to peek behind the curtain, when we're doing this power rankings this week, Tyler, how are we going to adjust the Jaguars, a team that we were high on? We're going to have to downgrade them. How much, though? I mean, Houston just seems to have their number.
Yeah, that's it. We're not going to downgrade them too much. They will get knocked back, but I think it's now 9 of the last 9 games Houston's played Jacksonville. In Jacksonville, they've won. So I kind of take it with a grain of salt. And then last week against Philly, I mean, what quarterback was holding onto the ball in that weather with that defensive line chasing you? So I'm not going to downgrade them too much, but yeah, they got to get knocked back a little bit. I still think they're fine. They're probably the best team in that division, but got to knock them back a little bit for losing to Houston.
What did you think, Title?
Yeah, this is one of the games I didn't watch too much of. I mean, it seemed boring pretty much the whole way. Didn't have too much in DFS. What stands out to me, though, is, I mean, I've been talking about things since week 1. ETN, you got to get him the football. He had 10 rushes for 71 yards, 3 catches for 43 yards. His explosiveness, when he gets the ball, he's a problem in space. Like, you need to get your best players to football. Christian Kirk, same way. I mean, what? Christian Kirk, 1 catch for 11 yards. Man, get your guys the football, your playmakers, make it easier on your quarterback, and better things can happen. You'll score more than 6 points. So those are the 2 takeaways from Jacksonville. But, I mean, you still got to have – I mean, you can't knock them too much. You guys had a lot of – you guys are really high in them. I thought they played very complimentary football. Let 13 points up. You got to put more than 6 on the board. So, yeah, there's still I'm not downgrading them too much.
The reason I bring it up, and this is just kind of some fun. That'd probably be a great show, right? Us talking about the power rankings every week, Tyler. We were really unsure of what to do with that team, and we go through each team individually, right? Then we resort and we see, okay, where are these teams at? And both Tyler and I had a sneaking suspicion that we were a little too high on the Jaguars. Now, okay, we don't want to downgrade them for one bad performance against Philadelphia Eagles, one of the best teams in the NFL. But boy, losing at home to Houston, the only thing where I throw that out is almost like that Colts deal. I mean, they just can't beat this specific team. So let's see what happens here. But I'll tell you what, this is a tough one for me to really have a stand on. And I feel pretty strong about a lot of our rankings there, available on the NFL Bets Playbook on runpuresports.com. If you're not a member, head on over to runpuresports.com. Check it out. We nailed most of them, but this is one, and I feel real strong about most of our rankings, Tyler. This is one I'm really not sure what to do with. And I don't even know if we upgrade the Texans. Good for them to get their first win of the year. Maybe not if you want a new quarterback there. The Chargers and the Browns was exciting. It was exciting. I don't know what we say about the coaching at this point. I mean, this guy, Brandon Staley, I don't even know what's going on there. You're either going to be the riverboat gambler or you're not, but it's kind of weird how he's not consistent with it. Of course, he's going to get criticized, and I think rightfully so, because Cleveland should have won this game. Regardless, Tyler, we were right at the number that we were talking about on Friday. We got the cover. That was nice. But the Browns have to be discouraged to lose a game that they should have won. This was an exciting game. I hope Title had this one on. What did you think, though, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of matched up how they did last year. You didn't get the 1,000 yards and the 87 points, but you got up over 50. You hit the over. The Browns covered late. But, yeah, just like we said in the preview shows before the season spread, Brandon Staley, we know McDaniels is probably the worst coach in that division now, but I was trying to pencil in Staley down there because you never know what you're getting from him. That call at the end of the game to go for it on 4th and 2 when you're up 2 and you basically put them in field goal range was terrible. They're lucky that kicker missed for Cleveland. But, I mean, as for Cleveland, they're slowly starting to get healthy. They traded for Deion Jones from Atlanta today. I believe he's still on the IR. But once he comes back, that helps their defense out in the middle. And then once Watson comes back in a few weeks, maybe they sneak into the playoffs late, but it's more of a next year thing for this team.
Wow, and Uncle T doesn't like the stubble. I've been rocking the stubble for almost always, haven't I, Tyler?
Yeah, I thought so.
I quit, yes, I haven't really shaved that much. So, okay. Well, hey, what Uncle T wants, Uncle T gets. So I'll bust out the electric. I got to charge it. Okay. Title, what were your thoughts on the Chargers, right? I mean, there's a few ones that just seem obvious, right? Like that call in Atlanta. We're all going to agree. The call from Staley, we're all going to agree here, right? I mean, it's just egregious. Even Keenan Allen's tweeting about it. So obviously the players aren't on board with his haphazard style. I don't really know what to make of this team because coaching is so important in the NFL, but they have one of the best rosters and they keep winning in spite of their coach. Title, what should we do with the Chargers?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can say that about Harbaugh yesterday too, where he the aggressive style. I love aggressive style, but there's a point where you got to punt the football. Harbaugh, we'll get to that game yesterday, but the 4th and 1, they take the delay game after.
My only argument would be, don't you think that Harbaugh's built a little more cachet with just year after year of success?
Yeah, I mean,
you got this new cat that came in and he basically ran the Rams defense for a year, and Fangio liked him. But I don't know if he's head coach material, right? And I mean, it's just because of guys like Nathaniel Hackett and Matt Rule, we're not giving him more attention.
Yeah, no, I get it. I like the aggressive style usually, but again, like in this situation, you can't argue that whatsoever. I've always loved the Chargers because you look at the roster and all the talent they have. They are without Keenan Allen, which when he comes back, hopefully the hamstring's fine. That's a big bump. Austin Eckler is only playing 55% of the snaps or something absolutely crazy, very low, and he's still putting up insane
What did you say
numbers.
with him? So he's being effective, and wouldn't you say he's not a Nick Chubb? He's not a Damian Pierce. I don't know if he can handle that bigger workload. I would actually kind of agree with that.
Yeah, it was just a point, 55%. That's one of the lowest you'll see from a star running back in this league. I get it. Again,
I wonder what Chubb's at. Do you have those numbers?
I don't. I think. I want to say a little more, but I don't know for sure because Kareem Hunt's playing a lot
Hunt
too.
Gets a lot of usage too. I mean, that would be the way to go.
100%. Eckler touched the ball 20 times. He was so effective with it. If he could, again, you don't want to get your running back beat. You're trying to play postseason football, playoff football. You need your Austin Eckler to be in there. So I get it for sure. But, man, he has just been so good when he does get the ball. Keenan's going to be a big boost for this team. The defense, I don't know. I don't like Jacoby Brissett and the Browns putting up 28 points on you. Nick Chubb ran the ball. I mean, he's been so good this year, Nick Chubb has. But he got anything he wanted on the ground. I'm still holding on hope for this Chargers team just because I love their offense so much. Keenan Allen gets back, it gets even better. You got Herbert. I always trust good quarterbacks. But, man, I'm more worried about this defense. And, yeah, coaching, I mean, you just hope Staley. I don't really know. I mean, I like aggressiveness. He's aggressive a lot, but at certain times like this, yeah, you just can't do it. I don't know what he was thinking. But I assume, like Harbaugh yesterday, we saw him Sunday night after all the controversy last week on his go-for-it call. He then kicks the field goal, the 4th and 1 that he easily should have went for it. Didn't mean it wasn't as bad as the Staley call because, I mean, they still went up. You need a touchdown instead of a field goal to tie, where Staley's you can't even make any argument for it. But I think like all the noise and the outside will change how Staley approaches stuff a little bit, as we saw with Harbaugh, which I was surprised yesterday.
All right, everybody who is just joining, thank you. This is Talking Touchdowns, where we'll review Sunday's games and then, of course, break down tonight's Monday Night Football game. And Title, I got a good question in the chat, because I know NFL 15 is no longer valid. Is there any promos we're running right now? Because our guy Andre is ready to join.
I do not believe there's any promos right now, but there might be one. Again, I do not know this for sure, but NBA is coming up next week.
Oh, there has to be one.
And NBA is very, very big over here. So just be on the lookout. All these shows. I'm assuming NBA will have a promo code coming up, but like I said, do not quote me 100% on that. But like you said, NBA is so big over here. I assume there will be.
That's right. And of course, if you are looking for some NBA content, quick plug, Tyler and I will be on Tuesday and Wednesday previewing the Eastern Conference and then the Western Conference. We decided to scrap the division previews because a lot of what the industry says is just dead on. We're just going to give our more hot takes and then go ahead and do that way. And then, of course, the NBA rundown returns next week when the Lakers play the Warriors. So we can't wait for that. But we're going to continue with more NFL breakdowns. Tyler, the team that you're not ready to take the L on is these New York Jets. Bill Parcells says, hey, kid, they're 3-2. Take the L. What do you say to the Big Tuna?
Yeah, I mean, they looked good in that game, but again, it was against Miami's third stringer. Teddy went down. They had to be safe with him because you send him back out there after what happened with
Isn't that crazy? Because they basically caused that rule to happen.
Yeah,
so
and now you have to play by the rules.
I can't wait to get man going because he loves this kid. And I think that he's right as far as play calling and offensive design. The kid's got it. But this is where these young guys don't have those leadership capabilities. His inability to look out for him, right, caused that Thursday night debacle where he's on the ground with the fingers. And everyone's got attention on this. Now they overcorrect with the very same team. A little bit of karma. And it hurts me because I was on the Bills when Tua came back in the game. And then I'm on the Dolphins yesterday. So a little disappointed in that, but that's the way this works. There is variance in this. But, boy, that was really rough. So you're not ready to give the Jets credit, even though they're 3-2. Huh, Tyler?
No, I'll give the young guys credit. Like, the running backs look good, Breece Hall and Michael Carter. The wide receivers look like they're going to pan out. But do we really trust Zach Wilson right now spread? Like, yeah, he won a couple games, but Flacco's been the best Jets quarterback over the last 3 years. I'll argue that point forever. Mike White, no. Zach Wilson, no. It's got to be Flacco. And I don't really trust Zach Wilson to win many more games this year, spread, unless they fall into perfect spots like this. Like if Teddy plays the whole game, do we think the Jets put up 40 here? No, that score probably flip-flops, and the Miami team put up 40. So I'm not ready to say this is a good team yet.
Title, as a fellow Zach, are you willing to stand up for the MILF Hunter, or do you agree with Tyler?
No, I mean, I love the off-the-field stuff. I'll always stand up for what he's doing out there. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at their upcoming schedule. Get the Packers on the road. I'm still going to say Packers get it done. You get the Broncos on the road. And, man, I mean, who knows about that? You get the Bills twice still. Get the Jaguars. You get the Lions. You get the Seahawks. Are we talking playoff team, or are people saying 3-2 the Jets right now are going to be a playoff team? I definitely wouldn't go that far. I'd be surprised to see the Jets in the playoffs. But from what they've had in the past, you have pieces. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Corey Davis, who's a solid wide receiver, I think. I mean, Breece Hall for sure. Breece Hall.
He's in that Gabe Davis category, right? 2 receptions, 100 yards.
Yeah, at least he took 18 carries for 97 yards, and it just wasn't. Yeah, but for sure, I mean, DFS wise, I think I mentioned it 2 weeks ago on this show. You have to Michael Carter, weeks 1 and 2. Michael Carter was the starting running back. He was the 60-40, 65-35, and Breece Hall was getting more and more touches. last 2 weeks he's outsnapped him. And DFS wise, I had a good amount of Breece Hall. Think he's going to be something to look at going forward because, man, he's explosive. He's good. He can catch balls out of the backfield. If he doesn't fall at the 1 yard line multiple times too, that could have been a monster score where Carter got in. So I'm not sold on these Jets. 3-2 though. I mean, 3-2. You're winning football team right now after week 5. Hard to argue that, but I'm not convinced that the Jets are for real.
All right. Both guys are not ready to buy in. We'll see how Tyler and I end up adjusting these Jets power rankings. But unfortunately, I mean, we do like the debate here on this show, but I tend to agree with you. Really talk about the hair, right, Uncle T, by the hair of my chinny chin, how they're getting these wins, but they're getting them done. So credit to Robert Saleh, and that has to be a good feeling around an organization that had not had success for a very long time. Geno Smith is dropping dimes, but the Seahawks can't get it done because of the strength of Taysom Hill. What is going on here? Boy, if Big T hasn't had enough wins in his life, now that Taysom Hill's coming back, you got to be kidding me. This guy just runs pure. Taysom Hill gets it done. Geno Smith looked great. That was a fun game. That was a fun game. And these Seahawks games and the Lions offense laid an egg this week, right? But they're going to be fun to watch every week, regardless of what happens. Tyler, they might be tough to gamble on. What do we do with both of these teams, right? 39-32, pretty high scoring game in the Superdome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't upgrade either team really much, and I don't downgrade either team because I had them pretty much in the same tier before this game even happened. Mm-hmm. It's just Seattle doesn't play as much defense to where the Saints play more defense than offense, so they're just a little bit of the opposites. But again, the Saints were able to put together enough offense. Kamara came in healthy, had a nice screenplay. I seen that put them in range for a touchdown. And then Seattle, they lost Rashard Penny for the rest of the season to a broken leg. So it's Kenneth Walker season up there. Definitely be paying attention to him on his props and maybe some DFS looks there, but no real upgrade to either of these teams.
All right, let's move on. That game was fun, yeah, but I don't know how much we're going to be talking about these teams from a betting perspective as the season continues because I think they're both so high variance, not safe teams to bet on. You know what's safe, though? Betting against Carson Wentz as the Commanders fall to 1-4, and you can't watch that game and say that the reason that Ron Rivera and this team was failing this year is hitching their wagon to this guy. It's been really rough. A lot of us have known it for years, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Sometimes desperation ends up with you leaving with a really fat girl at the end of the night. And unfortunately, that's what Dan Snyder did as he's hauling that 300-pounder out of the bar, not getting it done. Titans quietly are sitting now at 3-2, and you look at those losses, not too bad to the Giants and the Bills. Tyler, what were your takeaways? We know the Commander sucks, but what do we do with the Titans?
Yeah, I mean, maybe upgrade them a little bit. The main thing about their defense spread is they cannot stop the pass whatsoever. And Wentz was able to light them up with the De'Ami Brown. McLaurin's been non-existent. But outside of being able to stop the run, they get a little pressure on the quarterback. Once they got to play these pass-heavy teams, like we seen it when they played the Bills earlier in the year, spread, they couldn't cover a single pass. They got ran right off the field. What do you think a Chiefs team does to them either? So it's like they'll be able to beat up on these bad teams. But once they play good teams, I don't think they'll be able to compete.
All right. Do you agree, Title?
Well, I saw this morning, I'm trying to see on Twitter the tweet I saw, but Derrick Henry has a pretty significant turf toe injury that could have him out for a couple weeks or something, maybe.
If he's done, then that team's done.
Yeah, and well,
didn't we say that last year?
They had AJ Brown last year.
Yeah,
but who's the cat that comes behind him? Title.
You got Westbrook Akine as your number 2 with Robert.
Who was the cat that was running last year? He's gone.
Dante Foreman. He's
Foreman,
gone.
Who's now on Carolina.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I just searched Google. I couldn't see anything, but I saw a tweet this morning, and guy had the blue check mark and everything, a lot of likes, and it was a Derek talking about his toe, and it could be pretty bad. So, man, I mean, if Derrick Henry's not in this offense, the Titans are awful. The Commanders, I mean, yeah, it's the thing with the Commanders, like, it's not Carson Wentz's fault. The O-line isn't great, but when you run the ball 11 times, not named Carson Wentz, Brian Robinson 9 for 22, Gibson for 3 for 6. You literally, the defense knows you are dropping back with Carson Wentz every time against a suspect O-line. It's a recipe for disaster. He doesn't have much time. And I Carson Wentz over Matt Ryan any single day of the week. For me, the Colts, I mean, we're talking about the Colts. Wentz last year, Matt Ryan this year. So I don't think Wentz should get the blame for this. That's for sure.
All right. Well, the chat loved my drunk fat girl analogy here. So we're doing good on time. So I got to ask you guys, as two of the skinnier guys that run Pure Sports, right? Are you guys able to take care of that? Are you with Uncle T, the big girls that need loving too? Tyler, what do you think?
I don't need a hernia spread.
Uh-oh. Tyler, is that the same for you? Are you being more selective due to the quick and live nature of your frame?
Yeah, there's no question. Come on, spread.
I need them a little bit in the middle, though, spread. They can't be as skinny as me. We can't be starting friction fires and having sparks flying everywhere.
All right. Wait till you guys get to be my age. Sterling's got a great idea. Let's take that woman at Pittsburgh. Maybe she can help them block. Our guy Austin completely disagrees. Says she ain't a lady if she ain't 380.
Come on, Nades of Fire.
Wow,
Better
I can't wait to see that. And then Richie Smalls probably with the most prescient comment of all. He says, big girls make you breakfast in the morning.
Get a small girl that will too.
All right. So, yeah, Title's got it all going on down there, but that's what happens when you are in Texas, just cleaning up on the cash games on DraftKings. Let's move to the afternoon. We weren't even going to talk about this game, Tyler, because it was exactly what we expected, but it ended up in the Panthers firing Matt Rule. And, of course, I'm talking about the San Francisco 49ers absolutely blowing out the Carolina Panthers 37-15. Really a true idea of never in doubt. And, hey, I'm taking my lumps on that Mike Tomlin take that I always give you guys. But I'm sitting here and I'm waiting to get these props for my guy, Jimmy G, man. All the guy does is win. I can't wait to see how you guys are going to tear down this performance today. Talk to me about Rule being fired, and then let's give me some props, guys.
Well, not only Rule fired, they fired the DC right before we started the show, so they're cleaning house. I also seen teams are calling for DJ Moore. Christian McCaffrey's not happy. Why not just blow the whole thing up? Trade your guys, get more draft picks, and just let these new guys start fresh.
What do you think McCaffrey would bring? Second rounder? Third rounder?
Probably third rounder. You might be able to snag a third and a fourth for him and then get back like a fifth from them. But, I mean, as for the other side spread, I'm not giving your boy any props because Baker did his thing.
Because what?
He threw the defense the pick six I needed to get the San Francisco defense to score for one leg of our 80-1 parlay. And we can't bet on him anymore because his ankle's messed up now. He was in a walking boot after the game. They say he's going to be sidelined for a few weeks. So PJ Walker will be in Carolina for the next few weeks.
Can you believe? Okay, first of all, let's give Tyler props.
What did Jimmy G do in that game?
All the passes.
I mean, Jeff Wilson went for $120 and a touchdown also.
Okay, if Shanahan's system's so good, then why is he like 8-28 without Jimmy G? You guys act like anyone could just jump in there and do that, but nobody does.
I mean, they tried to throw a kid in that's thrown the ball like 6 times.
All right, Title. Are you ready? Because Tyler is being stubborn here. Tyler's acting like I'm a 300-pounder. He is not going to hear it.
I mean, you're trying to victory lap Jimmy G for beating the Seahawks, who you could torch, for stepping out of the end zone and having a safety and a pick six, for then winning the game when the defense let up 10 points or something, and then beating the Panthers who just fired everybody in the office, 1-4 team who before that DJ Moore doesn't like the coach. McCaffrey's wondering what's going on. I mean, they got to beat a real team, and Jimmy G's got to put up more than 20, right, spread? Before you get some props? That makes sense.
I guess so. I guess the Super Bowl doesn't count. The conference championship doesn't count, right? It's just, he's sending Jimmy G forced this guy David Tepper to just give away $40 million. Like, that's okay. All right. Well, enough of that little shtick there, because it is kind of a shtick. Let's talk about the Cowboys getting it done against the Rams. That line is bad, and Dallas had a 45% pressure rate. I don't know since I've started seeing that stat, I don't know if I've ever seen one that high. This Dallas team is just showing that if you just have 2 elite pass rushers, you could just have the rest of your field's cool. I mean, it completely changes the game, especially against a guy like Matt Stafford. Tyler, I'm patting myself on the back for this one too. That was my best bet on Friday. And thank God, because I've been dialing back on the NFL. There's a lot of crazy variants. Look at Atlanta, right? I mean, look at that Bengals-Ravens game, right? A lot of these games really are toss-ups. So it feels nice to give out a pick where it really felt just like taking the 49ers, never in doubt, because money line, maybe you were sweating a little, but that plus 5.5 just felt great the whole time. Dallas is now 4-1. They're heading into a Sunday night showdown with the Eagles and the Eagles-Cowboys, which at the beginning of the year, I was like, whatever. I mean, that's going to be a great game now. And because this Dallas pass rush is so ridiculous, I always thought Dallas was overrated. I mean, they might just be underrated now.
They're going to win that game too. They're going to knock Philly. They're going to knock Philly down to 5-1. Philly's offensive line getting banged up, and just like you said, this Dallas pass rush might be the best I've seen in my lifetime. I don't know about you. You might have seen Lawrence Taylor play.
I have.
But going
Carl Banks, I mean, that team is tight.
Yeah, like you look at their Super Bowl odds right now, 22-1, and like the teams in front of them in the NFC, like Green Bay.
Hey, you still got to look at that coach they got at the helm.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Well, I mean, if your quarterback's going to play like Cooper Rush, where he's just going to be like, I'm going to do exactly what I have to do. I'm not doing anything out of line. I'm not going crazy. And we'll let the defense win us games. The coach really doesn't have to do much. Michael Parsons got banged up, and they were like, you know what? You're just going to play third downs. And that still worked out for the defense. And when you're getting that pressure on guys, all it does is make the quarterback get frantic. And Stafford was frantic from the start. He threw the pick six on the first drive. And from there on out, he just knew those guys were going to be all over him. They don't have any weapons outside of Kupp. Robinson stinks. Higbee can only do stuff when you put the ball right in his hands. He has no run after catch ability. And the running back stinks. So I don't think this team does much of anything. Not having any draft picks over the last few years has really banged this team up, I think, and it's finally caught up to them.
Yeah, I mean, you're always right about the stars and scrubs approach. And it's almost like that Lakers 2020 run. At least they got one championship out of it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty
because
much
that's how you have
wanted.
to feel if you're the Rams. I'll tell you what, if as a Raiders fan, you say, hey, you get one championship and you suck for the next 5 years, sign me up. Title, what were your thoughts on the Cowboys and the Rams?
Well, talk about taking L's. I forget who you guys said earlier, but man, I got to take an L on the Cowboys after week one when Dak goes down and how they looked. What in the
But you know, that was everybody.
Yeah.
Find someone during the week two, breakdowns that was like, I'm not worried. Cooper Rush is going to be fine, right? And I mean,
even after the Bengals game, teams were like, well, maybe that was just that spot where the Bengals sleepwalked. I think it was till now where people were like, all right, this team's actually legit.
I mean, yeah, that's just what's funny about this show. We do it every single week after it. And like some of you could go back to some of the takes. It's like, and this Cowboys team is now sitting here for, I mean, Cooper Rush dropped back 16 times, 10 for 16, 102 yards, no touchdown. And that just shows how good your defense can be. Again, I mean, the Rams aren't all like their offense isn't bad by any means. I mean, I agree. If you look, I mean, Cooper Kupp's the only one that can do anything. Robinson and Stafford's connection it's not there, unfortunately. Higbee, as Tyler is mentioning. I mean, Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson couldn't get anything going on the ground, or Darrell Henderson didn't even run the football. Cam Akers couldn't get anything going on the ground. I mean, I'm probably lower than Tyler is. I always know Mike McCarthy's there. I'm not sure they can keep up 30 points or something like that. Can they win in a shootout? I'm still not sure of. But my question is why is Zeke still out touching Pollard by a lot? I mean, Zeke 22 carries for 78 yards, Pollard 8 carries for 86 yards. We've been saying it forever, but man, if they finally let Pollard go and it's 65-35 Pollard Zeke, or even 60-40 or something like that, this team can really be a problem, I think. But good win for the Cowboys. They've looked way better than I ever thought they would. Super Bowl, like Tyler was looking at Super Bowl numbers and stuff like that. I get it with the defense, with the offensive line, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah. I mean, you look at their path, too, through the NFC. It's like the Eagles' offensive line is slowly starting to get banged up. They could get to Hurts. Tampa Bay's offensive line is non-existent. They'll get to Brady. Can they get to Rodgers? The big one would be, can they get to Jimmy G? But that game also might play out to where it's like the final score of like 6-3. So I think their defense could drive them through that NFC.
but without Trent Williams, that moves the thing.
They would absolutely murder Kirk Cousins in a playoff game. I will say that. They'd sack him 7 times and he'd throw 2 pick sixes to Trayvon Diggs.
My question for you too. So, like, what is this offense and team going to look like with Dak back without Cooper Rush? And they're completely different. Like you're saying, Tyler, Mike, like, rely on your defense, don't make mistakes. I mean, that's just not. Dak Prescott's not dropping back.
Yeah, well, if he can give us what he was doing before, 500 yards a game and a couple of touchdowns, and just make the offense more of a high flying offense. Well, now the defense is even in a better spot because now they're pinning their ears back from the jump, and they're up 7-0 if they start with the ball. Because that offense is going to go down and get points with these 3 wide receivers. So
you want like the normal Dak? I mean,
if
dropping the back 40
the
plus
normal
times,
Dak, this is going to be.
I don't think you do that. I think you learn from this.
I'm saying, hey,
we have a successful formula. But I'd be hard pressed not to believe that Dak can't.
Or it's something you just keep in your back pocket. Yeah, you just stick with the same offense, and if it comes to that game where you need a shootout, you just go with it.
Dak's not washed by any means. Dak's
he already
not
got
washed.
paid. He'll take W's with 200 yards. He already got paid.
I mean, yeah, it'd feel weird to see Dak only dropping back 20 times and stuff. I don't think he'll be dropping back 40 plus times like they have been. But the more he drops back, the more you can. Fumbles, more bad things can happen that puts your defense in a bad spot and things change. So, and Mike McCarthy's a complete donkey. So I'm excited to see what the Cowboys will look like once Dak returns. Because I'd be surprised if it's right now.
I can't imagine them getting worse.
The Zeke Pollard thing, I think Pollard plays so well because Zeke tires these defenses out. He runs into them and makes these guys tackle him. And it takes 3 to 4 guys to bring him down. And all of a sudden you put a guy who looks like he has a jetpack on his back on the field and he runs past everybody. So I'd say keep them together, let Zeke do the bulk of the work, and then all of a sudden you bring the speedster onto the field and let him break one.
I mean, you want him touching the ball more than 8 times in a game, though. I mean, he's too good.
Did you need him more than 8 times that game, though? Once he housed the first one, it was like, all right, we're good here.
Yeah, he's not always going to house that. I mean, you need to give him a couple more. I hear you. Zeke definitely wears down defenses.
Yeah, and just go, like the great Wu-Tang Clan said, Cash rules everything around Mike McCarthy. He's got to give Zeke those touches because we give Dallas credit because that's objectively a bad contract and they've been able to overcome it.
I mean, I hate that. Look at what Miami's doing with Chase Edmonds and all that. You pay him the money, Mostert's better, you play the better guy. I get it, but sometimes you got to say this was bad. I'm not saying get away from Zeke, but I don't know the exact number. Is it 65-35 Zeke? Is it 60-40? Whatever it is. But seeing 22 touches to 8 carries, I mean, that's too wide for me. But
I agree with Tyler, though. For the game script yesterday, you already had the lead.
Yeah, pound the football. He's going to take care of the football, get you 4 or 5, get the clock running.
Let Micah rest. Title, let's do one of my favorite segments of the show. And this is the part where we get to slander Kyler Murray, right? No one's really too high on him on run fear. I can't think of anyone who's really high on run fear. It's actually, we need a Kyler backer here for more debate here. Once again, they can't get it done. At least he scored in the second quarter this game and didn't wait till the second half. But some lack of awareness there when he slid. I don't know. What did you take away from this game? The Cardinals covered.
I mean, they can't run the football, which is always going to be a problem. Kyler's just got to drop back, do it. I mean, I thought Kyler was going to be better than he is. There's no doubt about that. He's not going to be a Jalen Hurts that somehow that figures it out. I don't think. I mean, this team.
I'm worried we're going to be able to do this segment when DeAndre Hopkins comes back. So I think he's going to change everything for that team. That's why I'm just milking it right now.
Well, the thing, DFS wise, I think so. But you think this team turns into a legitimate? They're going to give any team they play in the playoffs a problem?
No, they're not playoffs. We're only talking regular season.
That's what I mean.
They're going to win more regular season games, and they're going to be a better offense altogether.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely agree with that. Rondale Moore, he came back and he played pretty much his full role. He's better than Greg Dortch out there too. Hollywood Brown looks good. I mean, Zach Ertz is still sitting in the middle of the field, but anytime D-Hop comes back, your offense is going to look better. They just can't run the football, which is so concerning when Kyler just has to drop back. But I will say, I'm going to keep playing. I got Kyler at 2% owned on FanDuel in a tournament. Like he gets the job done. The game script, even if they're down 21 points, The fourth quarter, he finds that garbage time. I'm going to keep hammering Kyler at 5% owned or less because everyone says he's a bad real-life quarterback. But especially with DeAndre Hopkins coming back, like you're saying, spread, I'm still going to keep playing Kyler stacks in DFS. But DFS in real life, I don't think Arizona's got anything going for them in real life right now.
What did you take away from the game, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles looked like they were going to put it on them, and then piece by piece started to fall. They lost a couple offensive linemen. They lost a couple guys on defense. And then here came the Cardinals to backdoor the spread. So I don't really take much of it from the Cardinals side. I think it was more Philly finally getting bitten by that injury bug we talked about. But yeah, Title said it. The Cardinals can't run the football, and you're not going to be able to run the football with Eno Benjamin and James Conner. So you got to get somebody else in there. I don't think Hopkins is going to upgrade this offense as much as you guys, because I think that dude's washed. He wasn't good last year when he played.
He was good when he played. He just got
last year.
Yeah,
he was not good. Look at those box scores. He was not good last year.
Okay.
But
I'll have to go back and check. I remember they were winning.
Coming in.
They were 5-0 to start last season, and then remember, as soon as he got hurt, we faded him, and we won every single bet except for one without him out. Every single bet. They were just the easiest.
You look at his numbers though. He wasn't the main target doing much of the damage there. So.
I wonder how much that helped the other guys though.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could see is maybe he becomes the big attention target, and it just opens up for Hollywood.
Well, they had Hollywood.
I think if teams start to realize, we don't have to double him anymore. Let's go double the speedster. It's just
is Hollywood better than Christian Kirk?
I mean, he's right. I think they're both good football players.
If you ask anybody that question before Christian Kirk played in Jacksonville, everyone's going to pick Hollywood. So
yeah, I've never liked him.
I mean, Hollywood's balling out. Hollywood's doing his thing.
If he never had that,
I know.
If it wasn't for that Detroit game he had last year where he dropped 3 touchdowns,
right? I think that's why I'm still mad.
He had the bad drop.
I had Baltimore in that game.
Yeah, I hear that.
Bengals Ravens. Let's do that one real quick, and then we'll do tonight. Title. Let me give you a heads up right now. We're doing the best NFL Showdown content here at Run Pure Sports, and that starts at 3 p.m. Eastern on this channel. So since they're already crushing the Showdown, just let me know for Showdown, who do you like at captain, right? Because we're not going to do the full breakdown because they're doing the full breakdown. And then maybe if you find a prop or two, we'll focus more on the betting. But before we do that, start with you, Tyler. What were your thoughts on last night's game? 19-17, Bengals take the L, but get the cover.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. Harbaugh made the right decision in the end when he kicked that field goal instead of going for it, because everyone's going to say, the Bengals scored the touchdown and forced you to go back down the other end. But you kick that field goal a lot of times, your defense may stop them a lot more than letting him drive down the field and score. There's a couple penalty flags that let him get down there. Chase made an incredible catch that also got him down inside the 5. So I'm going to say kick that field goal every time. You go for it, you don't score, then they do what you did to them. They drive it down, they sit on it, and then they kick the field goal at the end of time. So it worked out in the end. You also have the best kicker in the game. You just got to win games with him. This team should be 5-0 spread, but they blew 2 games and now they're 3-2. So they're looking good in the division, but they need to get some stuff together. They also lost safety Marcus Williams. He's on the IR now.
They just can't stay healthy, man. Title, what were your thoughts there, man? I know we're so high on Jamar Chase going into the year. Now T. Higgins is getting a lot of usage. But I definitely thought the Bengals were going to be better than they were last year because of the offensive line upgrades. It hasn't been that way, and Chase hasn't been the same dominant player. What are your takeaways on the Bengals and the Ravens?
Well, yeah, I mean, T. Higgins only played, 8 snaps or something yesterday, aggravated his ankle again, so defense was able to focus on Jamar more. Offense definitely, I mean, the offensive line hasn't really figured it out completely. They were so bad last year. It was like, how could they get worse coming into this year? But they started off just as bad. They couldn't run the football. Getting a little better running the football, though. Mixon had a pretty nice game on the ground. That's 14 for 78, over 5 yards a carry. Couldn't get without T. Higgins, you can definitely tell this wide receiver core is not nearly as good. They're not nearly as much of a threat. As far as this game, I mean, I'm going to disagree with Tyler. I like analytics. I like when they kicked that field goal, they went from -400 to -300. So Vegas definitely disagreed. It's just Harbaugh's identity. Like, he is going for that every single time. If last week in the fourth quarter didn't happen, which I don't love a coach wavering from certain things that he does. We were talking the same thing about Staley. It ended up working out. I get it. They're converting that 4th down and 1 70% of the time, probably more. I think make it a 2-score game. Put your foot down. I get it though. It all worked out. I like the analytics. I like how that it also hurt my Ravens -3. I knew they get the touchdown right there. That is not going to work very well. But Ravens are a really great football team. I mean, J.K. Dobbins coming back too. He didn't even play that many snaps. So he's still getting work back in. What Justice Hill went down as well. Once you get Dobbins on the field 60+% of the time, he looks pretty good for the eye test for me. Lamar's always a threat. Mark Andrews is a complete monster. Duvernay, Bateman didn't even play yesterday. This Ravens team's tough. That's definitely for sure. So those are my takeaways.
Fun stat on that final field goal to win the game. They said it was so down the middle that if you would have shrunk the field goal post to 18 inches, he'd have still made it.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's a great stat there, Tyler. All right, Tyler, real quick. I'm jaded because this is my favorite team, and I'm disappointed. Patrick Mahomes is 7-1 straight up against the Raiders in his career, 5-2-1 against the spread. He crushed the Raiders last year. I have no reason to think it's going to be any different tonight, but I'm really down on this team after they pretty much lit me down, especially in that Arizona game. Hard for me to believe in them. They look great against the Broncos last week, but then we go, well, it's the Broncos. They might be one of the worst teams in football. What do we do tonight? I like the Chiefs laying the points, and I like the under. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm on the Chiefs here. I'm going to stay away from the total because I think there's a possibility the Chiefs get there on their own. Your Raiders can't stop the pass. Max Crosby, if he can get the Mahomes, maybe he causes some problems. But I think they absolutely smash him tonight too. Like Josh Jacobs won't be much of a threat here as he was against Denver. And we talked about teams having other teams' numbers. Your Raiders have had Denver's number for the past 3 to 4 years. I think they beat them every time.
Have had the Raiders number.
Exactly. And not the last time, but the second time before that, when the Raiders came in and won that game and paraded Chiefs Stadium after they won. I don't think the Chiefs ever want to see something like that happen again, and they're just going to keep pounding this team into the dirt any chance they get. So I like them -7. I like Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns +130. And I like Derek Carter throwing an interception at even money.
Title, is there any hope for the autumn win of the Raiders tonight?
Man, I wish I could tell you. Yeah, I was so high on this team coming in. The Chiefs.
I know, huh?
The Chiefs just – the thing about the Chiefs is how you guys were saying, like, I just think they're going to keep their foot on the gas pedal and just not let teams back in, which can be the biggest mistake for a lot of teams. I mean, this offense is absolutely rolling. I think Mahomes gets the ball out quick. So many weapons. And, I mean, I just have been disappointed in this Raiders this Las Vegas Raiders offense. I thought they were going to be a lot better than they had. They get Renfro back today. Hope that definitely can't hurt. But, I mean, man, -7 I see. It was 7.5 yesterday. Some buyback at 7 I see. I mean, it's hard. Back in the Raiders +7 definitely would not feel very good in this spot is how I see it. So I'm with you guys on the Chiefs.
Title, my only hope really as a Raiders fan is from what I'm reading, McDaniel's system is ridiculously complex. This might be a thing where it takes a full year for these guys to really figure out. Maybe they go on a nice run to end the season. And
if you keep Jacobs, Devontae, I'm still a card like Max Crosby. If you can keep your core pieces, if I was so high on them coming into the year, like I can't just completely abandon them. But today,
I can't either. This is a bad matchup. But I was going to be surprised if we're taking them with the points a lot towards the end of the season.
I would do that.
That's just my thought there.
Yeah, they're just playing Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like you can't really draw up a tougher spot. That's the only reason.
And it's in Kansas City. Tyler, props.
Yeah, just that Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns and then the Derek Carr interception. And I was looking at some of these specials that FanDuel has, like it's Mahomes to throw 3 touchdown, Chiefs to win +140, but your betting is over 2.5 at +135 anyway, so it's basically the same thing. And the only other one I was looking at, Kelsey to have 8+ receptions, but that's a lot, and the Chiefs to win is +220.
All right. Title, real quick, of course, they're going to give the in-depth showdown breakdown, but the people love you, and they love to see what you're doing here on the daily fantasy side. We don't have time for the full thing, but give me your thoughts on the captain position.
I like Kelsey. I mean, I think he's just clearly the guy. And it looks like, again, I just pulled up the showdown, just running stuff very briefly. I think he's going to be pretty low owned at the captain spot. Maybe a little.
You think what's going to be Mahomes captain's chalk?
Yeah, Mahomes, Devontae Adams, stuff like that. I don't think Kelsey's really expensive. And if you're going to get up to the captain, I think Mahomes, like I said, Devontae, people maybe will go like the Juju, the Renfro, so you can fit. I mean, there's a lot of studs in this game. There's Devontae, if you want Jacobs, Renfro, Juju, Mahomes, Kelsey, like a Bucker. Like the punts aren't very great in this game.
MVS is the guy tonight.
MVS,
he's taking the top off that defense at least once.
I like Pacheco too as well, man. He has been running so hard. He's going to get carries, 4.8K. Nobody is going to play Pacheco today. I mean, he could be 5% owned, something like that as well. So then that's more of an eye test. It's a guy at that ownership who looked that good. If you expect him to be winning, we like the Chiefs side. They're up 14. They're like up 21. He runs the ball really hard. Man, I think he's interesting as well. But Kelsey, yeah, if we go core, let's go Kelsey, captain. Let's go Scantling because I was liking a little Scantling too. And let's go Mahomes. Then you can figure out 3 spots.
All right, last question, and then we're going to turn it over to the best showdown guys in the business. I mean, isn't it just fun working with these guys? And I can't wait to just log off and hear all their great insights. Of course, brought to you by runpuresports.com. If you're not a member, head on over, check out everything we have to offer. And like we told Andre early, look forward to an NBA promo code coming up real soon. Title, if I want to put Mahomes in the lineup, how much salary do I have to leave on the table to be different?
So I mean, like, there's going to be Mahomes lineups that it all depends on the other pieces. Like, if you'd have to play Raiders D, Chiefs D.
Well, I can't play Raiders D if I'm playing Mahomes, right? I mean, that would be absolutely crazy, right?
The Chiefs defense isn't a bad play, I don't think.
People do it all. I mean, people do it all. All it takes is one play. If you say Mahomes throws a pick six or they return a touch, like, you need to win. You're talking about how can I win with less than 10 dupes with playing Mahomes is what you're saying. Like, you could leave zero salary and get Raiders in there. It sounds crazy. It probably is, but you need to have at least one way off the board play, and Noah Gray. I mean, Foster Moreau, just something like that where they're going to be 5% owned, 6% owned, and then you can play 49-8, 49-7. If you're going to play more chalky people, it's going to make more sense to you. I would leave 1,500, 1,200, 1,300 if you aren't going to have one guy that's going to be in the single digits owned, is how I'll say.
All right, there you have it. There is our Week 5 review and Monday Night Football preview. Tyler, was there anything I left out before we turn this over to Simon, Big T, and the Showdown crew?
Nope, just don't forget to check out the NFL playbook. We got the whole breakdown on there. There's props up for that game and a couple long shots.
That's right, because I see a lot of members there in the chat. Guys, if you're not checking this out, right, you're already paying for it. It's been great. I mean, it's been fantastic. If you're not following Tyler, he had 4 games that we just pretty much nailed, and it's a lot of fun. I'm doing more of the projections on the numbers for the sides and totals. Tyler's doing the props, but then, of course, we talk about every game, kind of, checks and balances, checking our work. Hey, Tyler, I don't know about this. Hey, Spread, I don't know about that. To be fair, morally, it's him correcting my stuff, but it's fine. I'm so happy to have these teammates here at runpuresports.com. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you should be, because you'll get notified when Tyler and I go live. It's kind of a surprise show, right, Tyler? Kind of a surprise show, but we're doing NBA breakdown tomorrow for the Eastern Conference, doing Western Conference Wednesday. Gotta love that. And then you'll get notified. The NBA rundown, because of football, is going to have not the same time every day for the week until football's over. So go ahead, you become a subscriber, and then you're going to get notified when we go live, giving you those great breakdowns. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, head on over to runpuresports.com. Run Pure.